Bullying and harassment are forms of behaviour that are not acceptable in our private lives, in our public lives and at work. A study by Samaritans estimated that 8 in 10 people are affected by workplace bullying in one form or another. Nikki Patterson, a psychologist at the Centre of Therapy in Glasgow, tells us a bit more about this and its effects. How yourself would you define bullying?
Bullying is the process of one or more individuals harassing another individual to make them feel humiliated or low about themselves and lower their own self-image.
In adults, do you get a lot of people that have experienced bullying, like from your experience? Do you come across it a lot?
I don't come across it in the sense that people admit that they've been bullied. I come across it in the sense where I will perceive that they have been bullied, but I personally don't think people like to admit that they've been bullied themselves at work in an older adulthood.
Yeah, why do you think that is?
Because it's perceived mainly as children get bullied and it's a young thing to complain about because the media say that, and also other people tend to, it's almost like your self-esteem, you don't want to lower your self-esteem by admitting that. It's the same with many other disorders. You wouldn't go and admit that you're depressed a lot of the time. I'm not saying that for everyone, but for like anxiety and stuff like that, it's not the first thing they're going to admit. Therefore, a lot of the time, people who are being bullied will turn it on themselves. Maybe it's something I'm doing wrong instead of what they're doing wrong themselves.
Although harassment is illegal under the 2010 Equality Act, bullying is not, despite the two having similar outcomes and symptoms. I spoke to Karen McCluntha, a full-time call centre worker who's recently just had to leave her job as she felt like she was being bullied by a group of her colleagues.
It was recently, just at the start of the year, in a workplace where I had felt that I was being picked up on. So first of all, it had started through email, people talking about us, just making it generally really kind of awkward environment to work in, feeling very uncomfortable. Reported it, but nothing really happened as I moved departments. Then came back to the same department and it just started all over again. Got reported to my manager, getting accused of doing stuff. But at this point, it was 4 people against me as opposed to it just being one person against me to start with, and just making us feel very low, didn't want to go to work.
And it was picked up by the managers, so they knew about it?
Well, the allegation was reported by 2 people to the manager first of all, and the accusation then was brought to my attention. I denied doing what it was that they had said I had done. So because of that, it then had to go through formal investigations where everyone who accused were interviewed and everything had to be collected together and conclusions drawn to whether it was true or false. It wasn't handled at all in the best way. I kept getting promised day after day, you'll get your answer. Tuesday to come along, you'll get your answer. That Friday, I promise you'll get your answer. Nothing. And then it just dragged on and on and on. To the point where it was like, nearly 8 weeks later, and in amongst all this, the manager who was responsible for recording the notes had lost them. He hadn't saved it properly, and everything got erased, and I effectively had to start again.
Employers also have a duty of care to ensure towards their workers' safety, their health and their happiness in the workplace. However, a lot of the time, incidents can go without investigation and be swept under the rug due to employers not carrying out the proper procedures, not caring for their employees, or simply ignoring the issues due to busy schedules, heavy workloads or incompetence.
I think they could have done a lot more in the fact that the manager it was initially reported to was my own personal manager, and from the get-go, he didn't believe me at all. And that's what I kept saying to him. I was like, well, you're meant to be my manager, you're meant to have my back, regardless of whether you think that I did this or not. You're not meant to really take sides, you have to kind of stay impartial. But he wanted to punish me from there and not even investigate the allegation. Like, he had just been given that role. So as well, a part of me thought, he's out as if he's going to prove, like he has to prove something, like, to show his boss that he can be a manager. Look what I can do, I can conduct an investigation, I can do this, and I can give her a punishment.
What happened with the outcome?
What had happened was They had basically accused me of being destructive on the call floor. They had said that I had intentionally gone out my way to destroy like a team meeting, get in people's ways. They investigated and interviewed the people who first of all accused me, and then anybody that they named or anybody that I then named to try and be a witness on my part to say that I hadn't done that. I think it took roughly around 8 weeks or so to fully come together for me to get my decision, and it had turned out that they had believed them over me despite my best efforts of trying to say to them that I hadn't done what I'd been accused of. But it had very much felt like it was them against me. I felt as if I was never going to win. You know, from day one I had already thought to myself, well, I'm not going to win this. You know, there's 4 or 5 people against one. They're obviously going to be able to get their stories together, get their stories on point, so that it looked like I had done it. You know, I was just very much felt alone. My own manager didn't even have my back. He didn't believe me. So I didn't have anyone to fight my corner the same way that they had people to back them up. So the conclusion that it came to was that they had believed them, and that they had seen, I felt as if I was made out to be a liar.
What's the major side effects of bullying, like people being bullied in general?
Probably depression, turning in on yourself, kind of not speaking out loud, blaming yourself. And I think there's a lot of coping mechanisms that in adulthood you don't have in childhood, is to do with like drinking, smoking more, doing things that are like unhealthy behaviours as coping mechanisms, also ways just to deflect attention from it, or using humour as a coping mechanism as well. A lot of people will laugh it off, and on the outside they'll seem absolutely fine, and it's kind of this perception of not being bullied, it's alright, but as on the inside it's hurting them.
I just excluded myself, so I probably didn't help myself in the way that I took myself right away from the kind of group that I worked with and sat away myself just to stay out of trouble. So I thought to myself, if I don't sit with them, they can't then accuse me of doing something else. I can't get into any further bother. I'll just take myself right out of the situation. Came out to work, done what I needed to do, went home, and just did go out quite quiet. Didn't want to go to work, started impacting on my health, migraines, as a side effect of the migraines. Lost my sight for like a couple of hours, maybe a day or something like that. Just horrible, so it was.
Any advice or like any coping mechanisms for advice for people?
I'm a massive believer in writing a diary full of thoughts, full of feelings, just writing it all down. You can rip it up, you can do what you wish with it, but definitely writing it down, focusing on your own self, like realising what you want out of the situation, kind of analysing your own being bullied situation in the sense of who's doing it, how do I feel about it, what's making it happen, what could I change in my environment to stop this, because the whole aspect of bullying is you can't stop necessarily what they're doing because you may not want to confront them, but you could confront them, you know, by all means, if you feel brave enough to confront them, if you feel that's possible, then do it. But the other thing is, sometimes you'd be amazed at how much it actually can help just to write it all down, put it in a bit of paper, rip it up, or speak to a friend. Or I suppose if you really felt that it was that serious, you could go to management in your workplace if you're comfortable doing that, go to your union, places like that, or also go speak to friends or counsellor.
What advice would you give to other people going through this at the moment?
I would say for like advice is, don't be scared to stand up for yourself. Like, don't take the punishment, don't just accept what it is, you know, because the way they had put it to me is, we're not going to do anything about it formally. You'll just get a little recorded conversation and it'll stay on your record. You know, that kind of puts a slant on it where you're not getting punished but really you are, you know, and some people might just go, oh well, that's fine, whatever, it's just a wee bit of paper I'm signing, but that's on your record. You're more or less accepting that you are a destructive person, or you are out to do what you're being accused of. So don't accept it, don't be scared to stand up for yourself. If it takes 8 days, 8 weeks, 8 months, just keep going at it. Like, don't give in, don't give up on it. I knew I had to go to work. There was no point in me shying away from it, because then they'd be like, well, has she got something to hide? Is she guilty? You just have to go in, face up to it, show the people who are accusing you, you know, the bullies, that they're not going to get away with it. Like, you know, you're stronger than what they had maybe thought you were, and just show them that, you know, it was a waste of time, and hopefully then they don't do it to someone else.
If you are being harassed and bullied in the workplace, please click the link on screen where you will find helpful information, advice and tips, all on how to do with dealing with situations regarding bullying in the workplace.